While Food Cafe's motto and vision statement and mission is transforming humanity's relationship with food. And for us, food is everything. Food is not just the physical nutrients that we put in our body, but it's also the stuff that we put out every day. Who are we being and how are we feeding the world, as well as how do we allow the world to feed us? That quiet moment in the morning where everyone else is still sleeping and you choose to wake up, that choice is critical. You're basically making a statement to the day, I am awake and I'm gonna make the best out of it. Just that statement to the universe and to yourself is what makes the whole difference. So for me personally, as I said, I've been getting up at 5, and since I wrote the article about my morning routine and early spring, my routine has transformed slightly, which is, totally normal. Everything is moving and changing. So I get up around 5, and as I did in spring, I still start by saying to myself that I am awake and I'm here and I'm ready for the day. I give thanks to myself, to my environment. I give thanks to the world around me, to the earth that's holding me, to the job that I have, to the purpose that I have, to my dreams, to my beloved. It's easy to forget, but it's the most important thing not to forget to give thanks. It makes all the difference. If I leave the house grateful, actively grateful, the whole day will be different. So that's one key tip to remember, is to be grateful before you leave the house or before you do anything else, before you do any other practices. Get yourself in a grateful state and do not be too proud to thank for things that you have today, because most of the people in the world do not have them. You are so lucky to just be listening to this video, to be able to be part of a very modern, very well-off society. And you, as an individual in that society, have a responsibility to be grateful and thankful. So do that. That's my tip number 1. Okay, and then sometimes I do my self-practice, so I do things like Mayan yoga. It's one of these sets of exercises that I learned personally, and I've been enjoying doing them. It's not a vigorous practice. It's a very gentle practice to awaken the body and mind. It's a kind of conscious moving meditation, a little bit like along the lines of Tai Chi and gentle Hatha yoga. So sometimes I do that, but most of the mornings these days I just make myself a quick tea, which I'm very happy to have moved on from drinking green tea to drinking rooibos tea, which is caffeine free. I've been on a journey of reducing caffeine for for many years really, but I succeeded in quitting coffee last year, and then I moved on green tea, and I managed to reduce my green tea intake, and I chose to go completely caffeine free, apart from things like chocolate and an occasional green tea, which I still enjoy. That brought massive benefits to me personally, because my energy and my vitality stabilized and is no longer dependent on the intake of caffeine. So when I get up in the morning, I am not sleepy. I am awake. I don't need caffeine. I don't feel like I need to wake up from anything. So that's been the biggest difference for me. So I encourage you, and that's my tip number 2, do not start the day with caffeine. The feeling that I get from having stable, abundant energy in the morning and knowing that I do not need external stimulants to make myself feel any better, that I am myself responsible for feeling great, it's a great feeling. Early in the morning, the mind is super sensitive, right? So no matter what you do not waste or disturb your mind with frivolous things. And by that I mean social media, emails, newspapers, TV. The mind is so sensitive. It's like a super dry sponge, and everything around it is a liquid, and the mind is just ready to suck it up. So when I've noticed that, and I learned a lot when first thing in the morning I went into a tube, so underground, and one morning I didn't have a book, and my mind was just going everywhere around advertisements and other people's newspapers, other people's books, and I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, the mind is so sensitive and so impactful in the early hours of the morning, and most of the people just allow it to run free, allow it to run through the newspaper headlines, allow it to go through the horrible news we see every day, to read celebrity trash, to just think about gossip and stress at work and read emails, and we do not put any kind of conscious barrier on the information intake that is coming towards us and that's feeding our minds. We unconsciously binge feed ourselves with crap, and then no wonder we feel all these conflicts and confusions, and suddenly we feel very sad, and suddenly we feel very depressed, and we don't even know where it comes from. My tip number, is it 3? 2 or 3, is be very, very mindful of what comes in the vicinity of your mind, of your vision in the early hours of the morning. So if you're going on public transport first thing in the morning, have a book that would engage your mind. Things like spiritual scriptures, or inspirational books, or motivational books, anything like that. So I keep my mind occupied consciously, because I know it'll get occupied with anything anyway, so I choose to occupy it with positive stuff. That's been life-changing for me. It's really changed my day into a lot nicer experience, because I do not get these unknown kind of dark, monstrous thoughts in my head, because I didn't put them in it in the first place. I jump on a public transport in order to go to a first yoga class of the morning, which is Ashtanga Mysore self-practice. It's my favorite thing to do these days. It starts at 6:30, and I'm there on a dot 6:30, ready to start my practice. I'll be honest with you, it's not always easy. It's important for us to be able to distinguish what is long-term good for us and what is just our mind's way of getting out of things, because our minds will always try to sabotage the kind of the behaviors in ourselves that ultimately makes our minds work for us rather than the other way around. So the mind will always try to sabotage the behaviors that are new and transformative for our lives and ourselves. So beware of that. So I go to my yoga practice, I sweat and I pray for an hour and a half or so, and then I shower and I go straight to the cafe, to Wild Food Cafe, and I do a couple of hours of my most productive work, which is tip number 4, start the day with the work which is the most important to you. Not the most urgent, but the most important. So I start with things like writing and planning, strategizing, because the mind in the morning is very good for these things. And then after a while, I do the usual things like check my emails, have meetings, etc. etc. Just quickly mention, in the weekends, my morning routine is slightly different. I allow a bit more flexibility to myself, because I find that you know, if we are too strict to ourselves, we'll lose fun, and if we lose fun, we just become really rigid and really serious, and sometimes it can break us. You know, being too serious and unloving to ourselves can break us. So during our days off, I tend to sleep a bit more till around 8 or 9, and then I start with a little meditation. We go for a long run. Yesterday we ran for an hour and a half with Joel, which was amazing. I ran all around Hampstead Heath and back. That was really exhilarating. And then we make some food, some smoothies, some lunch, some dinner. Basically, we just take it easy and allow ourselves to relax and while still doing the practices that we intend to do. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and I catch you next time. Peace, guys.